Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Yeah. Hello there. Welcome to the program. How you doing? Hope I'm okay. Let me know how it's sounding since this sort of new mic is maybe not positioned properly. I'm trying not to do plosives too much, but P's do pop up in the conversation, so there's not much I can do in regard to that. It also happens to be a Tuesday, which means Susan should be here. Hello?
Yeah, and let me know real quick how badly I'm echoing.
Well, that's true. And then there's that. Son of a bitch. Well, that's a whole other can of worms. God dang it. It's weird, though, because it didn't used to happen. Right? I mean,
I guess. I
well,
don't know.
People weren't complaining about it.
I don't listen, so how do I know?
I know. I don't listen either. It would be very painful. I can't even imagine. You would think after an entire career in broadcasting that I'd be used to the sound of my own voice, but I am not.
No. If I listen to us ever, I don't, because I wouldn't continue.
Yeah, I know. It's just cringifying. So,
Yeah, so I'm exhausted. It's always amazing to me that I manage to get a phone call that I have to take right before I'm supposed to get, I've got my morning planned, I've got everything right, and right when I'm supposed to start doing what I've got to do, the phone rings.
Yeah. So, the fact Susan's not echoing
so
today.
Anyway, I got it all done. I took the call, because you got to take the call.
Okay, yeah. Though, phone calls in and of themselves are unusual. I mean, do you call people? I guess you still do. I mean, I
don't very much. I do not very much. I have had a phone phobia for years. If an appointment involves my having to pick up the phone, it's very difficult for me. If I have to just pick up the phone to call and say, it's difficult for me. Texting has been a godsend. It's much easier for me to text someone than it is to pick up the phone and call.
But I also think, just from the, you're talking about just your own anxiety of social contact. I'm talking about the social norm of calling, which is an interruption of some.
I think that's gotten better because people actually text to make appointments to call.
To call, not everybody. No. So what I'm saying is, I still have. There's two in particular, two friends, and they're very dear friends, but they
just call you.
They call like old times. That's what they do. They just call. And no matter how much I text them, and I've gotten them to text a little bit, they still call. And that's, it's, and sometimes, yes, it's an interruption. I mean, sometimes it's a real interruption. The only other people who call are people you don't want to talk to. It's people you don't know, or people trying to get your money, or something like that. But I am very trepidatious about calling anybody without texting first and saying, is this an okay time? And it seems like that's getting to be the more proper way to contact somebody.
Right. It is an acknowledgement that phone calls are an interruption.
Well,
and
it's
an intrusion.
It's like knocking on somebody's door.
If you have a way to make an appointment to call, then you should make an appointment to call.
But I mean, it's not the way we used to live. So
no, you just called.
You just called. I mean, that's what you did, but that was the only option. the other thing that most of us wouldn't do is show up at someone's house without letting them know you were coming.
Oh, God. Well, let me say that one's out the door at the Wisconsin house. Mother and I look at each other, and frequently the biggest laugh that we have every day is when we look at each other and say simultaneously, sitting ducks.
So
we're just sitting ducks, and people come and ring her doorbell because, they're checking on her.
Well, that's good, though. But they know...
Yeah, it is good.
They know she's there. She can't... Well, no, she was out gallivanting. So if people know you're there... But still, I don't answer my door if I'm not expecting somebody. I don't. And
you don't even look to see if you might want to answer the door?
Sometimes, but not always. No, sometimes. But I don't know. I know I'm a little odd about this kind of thing, but so and I just don't know if I'm just telling those of you who still knock on people's doors unannounced. I don't think that's a good thing to do unless you're Excuse me. Can I just say, no, it's not, because, the way I live my life, I get up in the morning, I hop into the nearest pair of sweatpants that's by the bed, I throw a shirt on, I run a brush through my hair, and then I get to work with our mother. And I might not get back to going upstairs and actually properly dressing myself until later in the day, if ever. And so when the doorbell rings, you catch me, basically in what passes for my bathrobe. Well, yeah.
That I don't like.
I just want to say my morning routine is exactly as you said yours was, although I don't run a brush through my hair. I just, and that's it. That is it. So you're actually doing one step more than I. But whatever. I mean, whatever. Just saying. So, let's talk about some stuff.
So you're listening to two old, unwashed, untoothbrushed women.
How disgusting. How totally disgusting.
I'm having my coffee, though. Well, it was a busy morning. I'll get to it.
Yeah, no, I've had a busy morning, too. I have. And it will be busy up until past noon, and then I get a little bit of a breather, but yeah, it's busy. So, let's talk about stuff.
Okay. Because that was not talking about stuff.
No, I want to know if... Okay, here's a quick quiz, Suze.
Okay.
Okay. Donald Trump, to my delight, was heard to say recently that he had ended 6 wars since he took office in January.
Yes, has he?
Yeah, well, the quiz is... Name one. Or 2, or 3, 4, 5, or 6. I'm serious.
Well, there was that little spat between Melania and the cook.
That is... I didn't even know about that. No, I don't.
Well, I didn't either. I just made it up.
Oh, you made it up.
I'm assuming that happened.
So, can you come up with any? Seriously.
No, he hasn't ended any wars.
I'll give him one that he might have, made a phone call and tried to get 2 people to talk to each other. A recent little thing between Pakistan and who? India? Yeah.
Well,
no, it's not a war. It wasn't.
He's also just moved 2. It's not a war, and he's just moved 2 submarines within, firing distance of Russia.
Well,
so I don't feel like giving him credit for ending anything.
Well, but I mean, it just again shows the absolute insanity we're living in. That he can say that to another foreign leader with not blushing, and the other foreign leader has to sit there, and one can only imagine what's going through his head. And here we sit, humiliated, embarrassed, and guilty about what we've done by putting him in this position. Okay, my next question to you. Will he pardon Ghislaine Maxwell?
Well, I think he's making every noise like he's going, like something like that's going to happen. He likes her. They're old friends. He knew her before Epstein. They've had a very lifelong. He used to work for her when she was very young and worked for her dad. They hung out on her dad's yacht. They are old family friends. If he can figure out a way to get her out of there, he's going to do it. He likes her.
How could he, knowing how his base feel? I mean, if he were to do that, that is as good as telling the world that he committed the kinds of acts that his base would kill him for. So, I mean, how desperate would he be? The fact that he's moved her to this cushy prison where they have yoga lessons and, no, it doesn't appear to be a prison. I don't even think there's a fence around the place. So since she spoke to his attorney, who's also, of course, the Deputy Attorney General, she's been moved to that place.
I know, but she might want to go back because she's hanging out with the Real Housewives of Utah. It's.
Well, here's what I also want to know. How is it that there is a prison in which, if you are rich, you get to go? And
there's always been white-collar crime prisons, Lynn. There's always been these low-security dormitory-style prisons for the elite.
Wait. But she is not a white-collar criminal.
No. And she's not, and she's also not qualified under any of the rules to be in that place.
Okay, so that's getting close to pardoning her. It's an act unprecedented. And showing, yeah.
Well, there is an asterisk where I think it's called a Section 25 or something. I don't know. Where if she is being questioned, that they can move her to a more convenient place to do that temporarily.
But that's not true. She's closer in Florida. That's not. She's. Putting her in Texas is
moving her to Texas to a prison resort. No,
is not. She was on the East Coast in Florida. So just saying. Yeah. Don't know. So okay, so we can't name the 6 wars. We don't know if he will pardon her, but we won't be necessarily surprised if he does.
Nobody would be surprised. But I think it would be a terrible, terrible mistake. I do not think his base would approve of this at all.
No. He knows it'd be a mistake too, which is why it hasn't happened yet or whatever. He's got to know. I mean, it would be an act of true
He's working on it. He's got everybody trying to pretend like she was the victim.
It ain't
going
to fly.
And it's only because of the...
Yeah, but it ain't going to fly.
It's gotten a vociferous pushback. Nope.
Everybody
knows... She was the worst of the worst. She was right in there with them.
Everybody knows too much, and there's too many of the real victims that are speaking out about it. So, no. Interesting stuff, maybe. Hey, I don't know if you noticed, this is just a little item, that the White House, there was a position in the White House for pandemic preparedness, which, I think is a good idea. And Trump's, who probably, I don't know, was he left over or something? He's just another Trumpian who decided to pick up and leave, which he did recently. Then somebody looking a little bit more closely at it noted it's the White House Office of Pandemic Preparedness and Response Policy. He left. And then, as reporters tried to, get a handle on the story, why, who, when, where, they found out that it wasn't clear whether this guy was actually in the position to start with. So, the position he left, he had never really been appointed to in any official capacity. And yet,
but he just showed up one day and was doing it for fun?
Well, no, but this shows the level of absolute
disorganization.
I mean, there is nobody running the store. Nobody. Josh Marshall wrote, this is the state of things from the very top to the very bottom of this administration. That somebody resigns from a position that he may or may not have even held. I mean,
did he get paid?
That's what I'm wondering. It begs the question, did he get paid? He must have been. Why would he stay? But, I mean, there you have it. Wow. And then this stuff just continues day after day, and you keep hearing people say the same thing. I just can't believe it. Believe. Stop with the you can't believe. Well, it's because we're still, most of our lives we've lived in a time in which there were something called norms, right? And you just assumed things that would be done in a certain way, and certain things would not be done. It just wasn't done. And everything, which makes this crowd true radicals, right? When you think of people who explode norms and create chaos, I suppose in some people's heads they think of like the people in the streets in the 60s. No. Look at the red tie, white shirt, blue suited Republicans. Those are the masters of now chaos, disorder, and they're radicals. And their attempt is to take down the established order, which is, was the dream of every long-haired, lefty so-called commie. These guys are doing it. I came upon something.
Did you see the picture of, I don't know why they were all young blonde women, but giving Nazi salutes? That's all the rage now.
What do you mean?
People think it's funny if people get upset. And I'm just saying, if I'm walking down the street and some idiot comes up on me and hits me with a Nazi salute, they're apt to get slugged.
So wait a minute. When do you deploy the Nazi salute?
They're just, I don't know, whenever they feel like it.
I have an exercise that my rehab person makes me do, in which...
And it's a Nazi salute.
Yeah, in which I'm on my back and I'm doing my legs are in certain positions, and my one arm has to be like exactly up and in sort of a angled, and I have never said to her, I can't believe I've never said it. When my arm goes into, because I can tell it helps work what needs to be worked, but there's something just in
See, you don't do that. See, I name all my exercises. How do you get through? That one would be the Nazi salute.
No, I just can't. I don't know. I name all my exercises, torture one.
I mean, there's the dog
two.
pee where you're in quadruped and you got to lift your leg.
Well, I know that one. God, disgusting. So I want to talk about. I saw this wonderful little thing about American exceptionalism. It wasn't. I mean, that's what I'm calling it, because I've always had a. I've often, recoiled at, Americans' tendency to, say.
Feel that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the braggadocio of it. And yet, part of me has always thought, well, there is something that is exceptional. There are many things that are exceptional, to get the tense right, the verbs right, about America. And here's, this suggests one. And there was a skeleton, just stay with me on this. There was a skeleton unearthed somewhere, I don't know where, in England, that was tested and found to be about 9,000 years old. And they were able to extract DNA from it. And they found that the English teacher in a nearby village.
Oh, right. I saw this. Was related.
What?
They found Aunt Tilly.
Yeah, I know. 9,000 years. This country isn't even 250 years old. 9,000 years, and they find and now the great.
That was a majorly uncurious family.
Well, some of them may have ventured afar. One doesn't know, but some obviously stayed put. But it was pointed out that is something that could not happen in the United States except for a Native American person.
Yeah, indigenous people.
Right.
Yeah.
There is no way, because as I said, this country is just not even 250, and we don't even, it's ridiculous. We are so much younger. We are a nation of people who did what the English teacher did.
Well, and then we'd fire the statistician that came up with the name because we didn't. We came up with the number because we didn't believe it.
Yeah, stay with that. So anyway, somebody who had come from England and ended up becoming an American citizen and who loves this country pointed this out, that this would never happen here. And then he quoted Ronald Reagan's final speech as president. And when Reagan made his last speech as president, he quoted a letter that he had received from an immigrant American. And this is what Reagan quoted: "You can go to live in France, but you cannot become a Frenchman. You can go to live in Germany or Turkey or Japan, but you cannot become a German or a Turk or a Japanese. But anyone from any corner of the earth can come to live in America and become an American. That has been America's exceptionalism.
Yep.
And of all the things that this guy is, and these people are doing, that I find the most repugnant. I'm sorry about that P. Bree in Singapore, I think. Are you in Singapore, Bree, or Malaysia? I don't know. You think an American knows the difference? Bree is posting. The plosives are, is there a windscreen? No. This is a cheapo little thing. We're getting a better one. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to do plosives. Susan, I got a headset mic thing because I was just using the mic on the computer.
Ah.
And every time I turned my head to like look at a piece of paper, those P's, I would, turn away from the mic. So this at least is stuck on under my chin and it's moving with me. So in that regard, the sound is better, but I need a better, mic. Just saying. I'm sorry, Bree. There's nothing I can do at the moment. He says his Bose...
It's okay, Lynn. I think it's a hobby of your listeners.
He says my Bose speakers accentuate certain frequencies, like mini earthquakes. All right. I can't do anything yet. So turn down those. Don't have such fancy dancy speakers, Bree. Okay. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. I thought the...
I'm going to sneeze. That's
okay.
what's happening over
Okay.
here.
The 9,000-year-old skeleton. I also came across, this is just like a grab bag kind of situation here today. I came across, now more to saying, is there a little fan near you? No, there isn't. Oh, well, there's a little 3-year-old who likes me over there. I'm just...
What are you talking about?
I don't know. No, there's no little fan. Why, is something whooshing too? And Allison tells the guys, this is so much better than before. I wouldn't worry about it. God bless you, Allison. So they're saying it's an improvement. And Susan, you're not echoing.
Yay! I'll work on that.
Okay, so, what was this thing I came upon a disquieting piece of information. I mean, truly.
Oh, well, that's how unusual.
Yeah. This has to do with the Nielsen ratings. Remember those? I mean, they're...
Sure.
So, but nobody... I mean, people aren't even... Most people, when they're watching that television, are not watching a channel anymore, right? They're streaming.
Right.
Something, right. But Nielsen's still out there seeing what channels are actually still being employed. And see, I said that because there was a P in it instead of just saying channels being used, which was not nice. Now I'll stop. Oh, there's another one. I'm sorry. I can't.
I'll try and say the P's.
Okay.
Let's see if that works.
Okay. Now I'll stop. Thank you. I was a little late. So... Oh, Bree. For me, it is not better, he says. The echo is gone. That's good. But how are you reducing the bass ruptures on the plosives? What? I don't even know what a bass rupture is. I know what a plosive is. Okay, let's just let it go. There's nothing I can do at the moment. And now I've totally forgotten what I was friggin' talking about. Oh, Nielsen ratings. So,
Right.
we used to live and die by them. They're relatively superfluous now, except they do help they still set the ad rates that local stations and networks and broadcast, all those old dinosaurs can,
Right.
and even the cable folks too. Nielsen says the most watched TV station in the country is Fox News.
Ugh.
Well, I mean, that's for all you optimists out there. I mean, how do we pull things back?
Well, who's even at Fox News anymore? They're all running the country.
I know, but there's a whole new crop of them getting ready to run the next, I don't know, they're in training for the Gestapo head.
Oh, God.
It is astonishing. I mean, you look, he literally depopulated that network. And they're now in his cabinet and sitting in high positions, this Perot on the bench, Bove on the bench, it's beyond belief. Anyway, just saying. Fox News is now the most watched TV channel in the country. So don't give Rupert Murdoch any credit for...
Well, I suggest that we figure out how to get those Murdochs on our side and quietly start turning Fox News into a propaganda machine for us.
Well, the only possibility of that happening is for Rupert to friggin' drop dead. And
right, and the right kids
children
to take over.
Yeah, and they're in a little better position because his effort to change the ownership so that the one kid he likes, the one that's like him, would have control. That so far has not passed judicial muster, so we'll see. But the damage he has done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God. You guys. It's all the guys that are... Watchman says, for me...
Complaining about your sound?
Yeah, for me, the volume seems lower on your new headset, but I'm hearing impaired, so it's hard for me to properly judge. Well, I just turned, I don't know if I did turn that. And Mord, being a card, is saying, Bree, he says, that could just be the Pittsburgh Green Bay sounds coming together. The bass plosives. The mini earth. Oh, God. Oh, yeah. So, okay. I gotta talk about this new book, which I haven't read, and which I probably won't, but sounds like a page turner if you're into bios. Amelia Earhart. Have you?
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard about this one? It's
I haven't heard about it. I saw her come across, but I didn't look.
Yeah.
Because she's always about to be found, and so I didn't look. But
Yeah.
there's a new book?
Yeah. And this doesn't have anything to do with her being found. It actually zeroes in on the Svengali behind her exploits.
Oh, right. Her husband, who was really
A bad guy.
lethal for her. Yeah.
Yes. So his name was George, it starts with a P, George Putnam. And he was a publisher.
George Putnam, he was a publisher. There you go. Where'd you go?
I'm here. I'm here. And so, before he ever met her, In the publishing business, he was seen as like a low-life character, a sort of a guy who would shamelessly try to create real life stories. In other words, he would like take young boys and send them off on adventures. He was into this idea of boy explorers. And he would send them off on these adventures, and he would drum up publicity about how they were going off to do these things. And some of them died. But the ones who didn't die ended up being able to write, with quotation marks, a book that would then sell like hotcakes. So this jerk sent these young men off into alligator-infested rivers, into the Arctic. One of them died from a snake bite. Another drowned in a flood in Bolivia. But he made money, tons of it. And in the late 20s, the big to-do was daredevil aviation stories. This is how Amelia Earhart got his attention. And he grabbed hold of her, and he gave her a makeover so she would look better, new hairdo, all this kind of stuff. He loved the fact that she had a great smile, and he thought she was just perfect. And then he put her to work with the public relations team. And they created a bullshit story of her life. And then he got her on board this crew that successfully crossed the Atlantic in 1928, and she became the first woman to do it, even though apparently she didn't really fly the plane. And she then became the most famous woman in the world. You know, she was meeting with heads of state, with royals, the ticker tape parades, and he saw that he'd really hit pay dirt with this one. So he divorced his wife, and he married Amelia, who was at this point totally in his thrall. His wife, by the way, was an heiress to the Crayola fortune.
Jeez.
I mean, what an awful man. He was also a fascist, a racist.
He was a user of people. Of course he was all those things.
Yeah, it was...
He was simply a user of people.
Yeah.
You're really describing, you know, an archetypal sociopath. He just used people to get whatever he wanted.
Exactly. We were talking about archetypal sociopaths yesterday, and how the three indicators are narcissism, total lack of empathy, and Machiavellianism. The desire to use, the willingness to use anybody for their ends. And then mix in a little bit of sadism, and that you know how that totally is a recipe for getting a Donald Trump or this jerk George Putnam. And she fell in love with him. Says something about her though too. I don't know. So, do you know that even when, by the way, when she took off in that plane ride with two other people to cross the Atlantic that made her name, he already had book and film tie-in deals inked and ready to go before
Of course, yeah.
No, but this is in 1928.
Yeah. What,
Yeah.
you think people just discovered this stuff now?
Oh, it was way ahead of. This is 100 years ago. It shows how long it's all been going on. And then when she disappeared, he cashed in on that, getting behind conspiracy theories about it, and then I guess he started to, she was gone. He wasn't making the money he used to. You know what he did? He staged his own kidnapping. And the people he said kidnapped him were fascists. All of this to create another book and potentially film. But this time he was totally found out. It didn't work, and he was finished. So
He should have saved from his earlier successes.
yes, he should have. Think of all the money that he had from the Crayola fortune, maybe. So anyway, there you have it. He also, it says here, I mean, just unbelievable. He said he chose the Navigator that she took on her ill-fated final flight, and he was a known drunkard, but he was the cheapest option. Who knows? Why would she go along with that?
Yeah, why would she?
I don't know. She said she had, the book says that she had the same sort of cavalier attitude toward death that many of these daredevil aviators obviously had to have. And she said, who wants to be 80 and have hardened arteries? Well, actually, most of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who wants to die young in a horrible plane crash? I mean, what a stupid thing to say.
Yeah, but we're still talking about her. I mean, she had enough of whatever it was.
She doesn't know it.
I don't know. So anyway, she
Doesn't help her.
Okay. Oh, Ben, what would I do without you guys? Lynn, you have a grounding issue with your new mic. There's a 60, what does HZ stand for, Susan? Hertz?
Yeah.
There's a 60 hertz hum that's coming through. You're still quite understandable, but that's why someone asked if there's a fan near you.
Well, let me explain to all of you guys who clearly know far more about this than either my sister or I do. Neither one of us, I could say neither, but in this case I'm going to say neither one of us is a sound engineer, nor do we have any intention of becoming one. So if someone drops by Lynn's house and fixes this all for her, you'll all be pleased. However, if that doesn't happen, this is it.
Well, we'll see. We'll figure it out. We will. And I do have, yeah. I mean, the only reason never mind. It doesn't matter.
Invite my son for a weekend. He'll fix you right up.
Yeah, well, I know he would. Okay, so Susan, I often, let's see. I often do this subject with you, and that is, Mord, I'm going to kill you. You know what Mord just wrote?
What?
Uh-oh, there's the echo. And then he puts in parentheses, just kidding.
That was my line.
That's funny. Okay, Susan, we often talk about, this young men and why they're struggling, and we have talked about that and blah, 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 blah. I just want to share some stuff I saw on it, written by just people writing letters to the New York Times in response to a piece by David French about this. And I thought both were really interesting. So let me just throw them at you and see what you think. Let me see, both writers are men. Males are doing poorly relative to females in many ways, academically, physically, psychologically, and socially. While these factors are important, the larger problem is that while females have dramatically changed their position in society for the better, males have stagnated in an outmoded set of masculine norms. I think there it is. Right? There it is. If you look...
Well, yeah, that's what it is, but I mean...
Yeah, okay, but that doesn't tell us what to do with it. But that's what it is. And then
and the fact is that the maximum norms, the masculine norms of bygone days are simply, if that's what these guys are waiting for, that's not going to happen, because if you read anything about what all of the women of dating age are saying, they're saying they do not want, what do they need with a man-child? What do they need with someone who weaponizes incompetence? What do they need with someone to take care of? And if mothers are raising boys that don't know how to do anything, that's what's going to happen. I can't imagine that mothers are still raising boys in the same way. I sure as hell didn't, and that was 40 years ago.
Okay.
You know what I mean, though? Why are these boys still being raised to expect that women are there to wait on them and to do their laundry and pick up their socks?
Susan, your volume is hurting my head.
My volume is hurting your head?
Your volume.
I will try and speak very softly.
Well, that would help. That's not really what you should do, but you were getting worked up and I think being louder, but whatever. But
that is what I'm reading. That's what I read over and over from dating age women.
I know. So, but these young men are also seeing that the people in power, all you have to do is look at Donald Trump and the triumph of the old masculine forms. They've triumphed in reaction to all of this. So you're harder pressed to tell young boys that this is not a path to success. Anyway, this other writer, same guy, says, I believe that masculinity is best thought of as a set of social norms embedded in culture and a historical era. The current definition of masculinity is predicated on avoidance of stereotypical female characteristics, such as emotional self-awareness and expression, compassion, and empathy, the very traits that account for a successful life and the very traits that, as what Susan has just mentioned, women are seeking in men. And the current norm is avoidance of all of that, and it's typified by the successful men of this Trumpian era, which would be confusing to a young man. Okay, here is something else. This is written by a guy in Toronto. I'm a male high school social sciences teacher. I've been teaching for nearly 20 years. Where boys are having difficulty, especially for those who will not likely pursue higher education, is in determining what their future might look like. I bet. They've become less engaged, less ambitious, less motivated, less interested. It's as if on some internalized level, they are already aware that our current society is not made for them. They feel as if they're going to have a hard time finding a good job or career or developing strong relationships with girls, which leads to a why bother attitude. It's definitely become more prevalent in the last 10 years or so. Now that I find particularly interesting because here's a guy who sees these young kids coming through his classes and has seen the difference. And understandably, he says he sees the ones that used to go into, the mills or, production jobs, construction jobs, whatever. And those jobs maybe aren't there anymore. They see that, they see the world, they see the AI and the robots, and they say, what's the point? And they give up before they even begin. And I see that too. And we're not, as a society or culture, dealing with this. I mean, the right wing is pandering to them, right? And trying to make them angry and feeling like they're being, maybe they have reason to be, angry, but their anger is not going to get them anywhere. You've got to, anytime there's these huge shifts, like the Industrial Revolution, you got to be flexible. You got to change or be left behind. But that's a lot of crap for a young
honestly,
person.
it is not true that all of those jobs are disappearing. What we have to do is stop allowing certain jobs to be considered, as elite and wonderful, and other jobs to be considered as awful. And we need laborers in this country. We do still need lots of construction workers in this country.
That's what all those immigrants that ICE is rounding up are doing. All the people I see doing that kind of labor.
We still need people to work on cars and trucks and automobiles. We still need people to work in our hospitals. The fact that factory jobs, they're gone. I don't know that.
Yeah, but Susan, the jobs in hospitals don't pay a third of what those factory jobs paid.
No, they don't anymore.
No,
but that's partly because of, that's a whole other conversation here. That's because of all the people that have their hands in the pockets of health care, such as the people that are actually doing it, don't get paid properly. And if you ask me, it's also, speaking of men, a function of when men stopped deciding automatically to go to medical school and started becoming physician assistants and nurses and RNs. And then we saw a quick stratification among job categories, so that as men took over previously women's jobs, the women moved down in the pecking order and the men moved up. It was very interesting to see, because the opposite was happening in law schools and medical schools. As women came in, men stopped going.
Well, I don't.
Yeah, it's been very interesting to watch the labor patterns and see how salaries reacted when men started doing the jobs as to women. And let me tell you, one of the things that happened is that as men took over in any given place where it used to be women, they got paid more.
Well, come up with anything other than what? You're saying when I see more male nurses and PAs, but they're nowhere. They're still way underrepresented than women. I mean, those are still mostly female occupations. They are still. You're talking to somebody who's in the hospital a lot. I mean, there's still mostly that's women, and where you also see women that you didn't used to is. It is rare to find a male veterinarian. now. Right? Anybody know of any? I know of two, but all the rest, all the young ones
I knew a bunch.
Well, but it's young women that are coming into that field as well, and you see more women as reporters. I mean, young women are, you can see them flooding in, and colleges now, affirmative action programs are really for
white boys.
Are for men, boys.
No, especially liberal arts colleges. They will just hand a male a scholarship because they want more men. But men haven't suddenly not changed in their abilities. But what has changed is in their willingness to compete.
Well, they didn't have to.
They apparently only like to compete with each other.
Well, I guess, but yeah. I don't know. When these huge changes occur that the individual boy has nothing to do with. I mean, these are huge changes. But I'm thinking too that I came of age. I was brought up to exist in a certain world, and it disappeared. Well, it did for me. I was never, and Susan will attest to that, there was no sense that I was going to college to find a career. Absolutely.
No, that's what we did after high school.
That absolutely not. You did that after high school. Why? Because that is
to find a husband.
That's where you found the young men who would be good
pool
husbands.
Of appropriate young men.
That is right. And that's the only reason. It didn't even occur to me. So when I went, I majored. They say pick a major. I didn't have it. I had no intention of, no desire. My first major, my freshman year, was education because that's what women went into. And then social forces ran away with me. The future changed, and women were allowed a kind of freedom, and I grasped at it. I still had no professional ambitions, and so I ended up on the cutting edge, on that beginning edge of women entering these male professions. I was the first woman in the TV newsroom, those are hard transitions on an individual level because I wasn't in any way in my head or formation imagining that or prepared for it. I was prepared professionally, maybe a bit, but it's hard, and things are changing now so rapidly for people in the job market that I don't know.
The job market right now, if you are a young person of any gender, in any field, it's just flat out scary. I mean, this is, I know so many young people that spent years in training, learning languages, they're with the intention of going into the foreign service, and they even had jobs. Their jobs were pulled. So there's a whole group of people that had jobs that don't exist anymore. There's and it sort of doesn't matter where you are in the social order at this point. Everybody's life is in upheaval, and it's a terrible time to come into a job market, no matter who you are. It's really bad. But what I was going to say is, it's interesting to me how just for 3.5 years between us, 3 years in school, that
Those are a huge 3 years. They were a huge 3 years.
The huge 3 years, because I did enter college
with an idea
thinking,
of having a career. Yeah.
I need to graduate with a skill.
Yeah, and that was.
I already didn't assume that I was just going to meet someone and get married. I mean, that was in the back. But what was in the back of my head was I better be prepared.
Okay, I am sorry. I just saw that the caller has been sitting there, and we're out of time.
Oh, get the caller.
No, but we're out of time. Anyway. Hello, caller. Are you still there? And can you do it in 2 seconds? Hi.
Well, I don't know if I can do 2 seconds. I kept saying stuff while I was waiting. I got to respond to that. I got to respond to that, but I can't respond to anything. Most importantly, your sound is so much better than it used to be.
Okay.
I remember when the sound would go really low if Susan was talking or you had a guest on or a caller in, and I'd turn up the volume, and all of a sudden Lynn's voice would blast through, and I'd have to go to get my ears checked again.
Oh man, I'm so sorry. You guys are. Have I said thank you for tolerating this program? Jeez.
Oh,
I mean it.
It's part of the fun.
Oh God, you're all a bunch of masochists.
It's part of the shtick.
Yeah.
Hey Susan, you're absolutely right about everything you said. I hear people say it's just so unfair for our boys now. No, it's not unfair. It's just more fair. And you haven't prepared your children. Like you're talking about the mothers. You hate to, I hate to like use a broad brush and say mom's the problem, but really, as a mother, and especially if you have daughters, stop coddling these boys, and make them become decent human beings and be responsible instead of, oh, my poor baby has got it so tough with this. Like, oh, give me a break. And usually it's white suburban moms doing shit like this.
I'm pretty sure you're right. The dealing, raising little princes, and that's not the real world. And I don't know. I feel sorry for them. It's just very easy. There is no girls' work. There is no boys' work. When you're in the house, it's the family's work, and everybody learns how to do everything. And then everybody leaves the house prepared for anything. Geez, how tough is that?
There you go. All right, that's good. Okay.
Okay, sorry. Well,
I'm sorry I didn't see
nice
you
talking
there.
with you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. I love being told I'm right about everything.
Oh
Just
God, when you said that, I cringed.
Her toes curled. She curdled.
I know. I said, "Oh
okay.
Man, don't tell Susan
But I liked
that."
it.
I couldn't stand it. That's the end of it. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Lynn Cullen Live.
Goodbye.
Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.